invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Laitram.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Oh, boy. Frightening. Was the Love Boat on Friday night or Saturday night? I'm thinking Saturday night, and Fantasy Island was right after it. Such limited television choices. Yeah, I did not like Fantasy Island or Love Boat. Fantasy Island, marginally better than Love Boat for my age. I'm like 12, 13. But I did indeed watch at least a program or two of each by default. Nothing else on TV. Yuck. Oh, there we go. All right, I like that. Thank you, number 9, Mr. Drew Brees. Right on the money as usual. A Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Fired up about that. Very much fired up for a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Did I say, yeah, you right? Did I say Friday? An hour away from the 5 o'clock power hour. That's the real countdown for the weekend. I love the 5 o'clock power hour. I love a little bit after 5 o'clock. Like an hour from now when we come on at 5, we blow that 5 o'clock whistle. Like you're coming out of the plant. You got the hard hat under one arm, the lunch pail under the other. Another week, another shift. Hit the time card, that whole deal. You're still welding, doing something on the line, building something. Wham! That 5 o'clock whistle goes off. I like that very moment of the week because 100% of the work week's in the books and 100% of the weekend smack dab in front of us. That kind of limbo period. I like putting the spotlight on it. Smell the roses. Enjoy that moment. Because we often it's a blur. We just fade right through it. I like thinking about it and embracing it. Anyway, that's in an hour, the 5 o'clock power hour on a Fantasy Friday. Got a good one lined up for you, or do we? Oh, no. The card says Fletcher Mackel. I think it's pronounced Mackel. He's with one of the local television stations, WDSU Channel 6, according to this card. And he does sports, covers sports, apparently. My producer will hand over some questions soon. That's how we do it on the program. I don't really know who, what the show's going to be about. The guests are. I just come in and they tell me everything. Fletcher Mackel? Mackel, they're telling me. They're saying it's pronounced Mackel. Fletcher Mackel. What? He's a twin? And we've got the less intelligent one of the two. Wow, that's harsh. You guys are brutal back there. Am I supposed to be saying that on the air? It's pronounced Mackel, and he's got a twin brother, and we've got the dim bulb of the two. Jeez and Pete's, that's not right, guys. I'm not going to say that kind of stuff on the air. Fridays with Fletch coming up in about 12 minutes. I love Fletch. I love him because he's total pro. He's been at it 20 plus years, just kicking butt, taking names, doing what he does. Very proactive, works hard, organized, does a thorough job, and loves sports, has a passion for it. It has lots of opinions. So talk radio, even though this isn't a sports talk program, about once a week, couple of times a week, I get Brett Martell on from the AP on Mondays. We kind of recap. And on Fridays, we get Fletcher Mackel on, and it's Fridays with Fletch, a little bit of sports and also a little bit of nonsense. Maybe where did you eat this week? Anything good? That kind of stuff. Why are you driving a 40-year-old diesel Mercedes with 250,000 miles on it? He got rid of that. He's now driving a late model 1997 SUV. He's moving on up to the east side. Anyway, Fletcher Mackel will join us. I like getting Fletch on Fridays with Fletch. It's a tradition. And he's nice enough to come on the program and, take a little razzing from me, the cruncher. Coming up in less than 30 minutes, Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. around 4:35. That segment's always brought to you by Latrim, the global manufacturing giant. Latrim in Elmwood, over 80 acres. I mean, they just keep growing, keep gobbling up like blocks of Elmwood. 80 plus acres. They crossed over Jefferson Highway, over by Distributors Row, took up an entire industrial block over there. Manufacturing facilities, warehousing. Latrim's got about 1,400 employees out in Elmwood. So if you're on the East Bank or West Bank, they're right under the UEP Long Bridge, convenient for a lot of folks. At the end of the Earhart Expressway off Clearview in Elmwood. Convenient and an incredibly great place to work. If you're on the North Shore, you don't have to come across the causeway every day. Just beeline down I-12. Latrim has a North Shore facility. Both are hiring. And it's not like 2 job openings. It's dozens and dozens and dozens of job openings. A career for you at Latrim. What are you waiting for? Go to their website. Check it out. Latrim.com. Latrim spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M. Latrim.com. Check it out. Yeah, when Michael Hecht joins us from Greater New Orleans Inc. in about 25 minutes, that segment's always brought to you by Latrim. 5 o'clock powwow. I mentioned that 5 o'clock whistle, the weekend starting, the work week ending. Yeah, you right. Also, we visit with Frank Brigtsen. Got to calm down, man. The Monday through Thursday can be a grind on this program. Yesterday, we had a blockbuster program. You can check it out on YouTube, Anchor, iTunes, Spotify. We started off with NOPD Chief Ann Kirkpatrick. YouTube, Anchor, iTunes, Spotify. Check out yesterday's program. I don't know what, 10, 12 minutes with Ann Kirkpatrick, 15 minutes to start the show. Then about 35 good minutes with Hillier and Hennigan, right-leaning Quinn Hillier, left-leaning Ellis Hennigan. That's always good stuff. 5 o'clock hour. Ron Spooner joined us from the Sewage and Water Board, talking about their plans, the pipeline, hoping for rain like everybody else, barging water to Algiers, Belle Chase, St. Bernard, piping in water to Jefferson Parish, New Orleans, East Bank, building the pipe in pieces, just staying ahead of the saltwater wedge. Maybe 15 miles eventually to Kennebra. Frank Brigtsen from his Riverbend restaurant in the 5 o'clock power hour. I always enjoy that. No, because like yesterday's program, Ann Kirkpatrick, police chief, Hillier and Hennigan, Ron Spooner from the Sewage and Water Board. It's lots of topics, lots of, different things we take on, like, I'm not saying like it's the hard topics, but we know the topics. We learn about the topics, have an opinion. U.S. Supreme Court siding with the lower court in Alabama. They're violating the Voting Rights Act. It means Louisiana's on the brink of having a second black majority district, matching the state's demographics. Supreme Court ruling, a conservative, Donald Trump appointed a third of that court? Hard right-leaning Supreme Court. Anyway, we take on a lot of topics every day. Gregory, Joseph, all of that. Anyway, yesterday was a good program. Check it out on YouTube, Anchor, iTunes, Spotify. Fletcher, Mackel in just a few minutes. Michael Hecht right after that. Frank Brigtsen, 5 o'clock power hour. And you, thanks for checking us out on the radio. Oh, so fine. 93.9 FM. 93.9 FM. We do that every weekday afternoon, 4 to 6 o'clock. 4 to 6 weekdays, 2 big hours on the radio. You can also check us out starting every weekday afternoon at 4. New Orleans own 107.9 FM. 107.9 FM. 600 AM will take you from Baton Rouge all the way to Pensacola, Florida. 600 AM. Television, Cox Channel 4, statewide. Television, Spectrum Channel 333, statewide. The first 90 minutes of the 2-hour talk radio program simulcast on TV. That means till 6 o'clock on radio. That means till 5:30 on television. Live streaming, CoreyTalks.com. And right now we're on YouTube Live. Check out our YouTube channel, Corey Johnson, Neutral Ground. Corey spelled Kaare. Corey Johnson, Neutral Ground. Click to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't cost nothing. Coming up next, oh no, oh yeah, Fletcher Mackel, Channel 6 Sports, Fridays with Fletch. Don't move.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" He said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
River Cities Total Maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOLAAC.com is your cool spot.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Still have to stay hydrated out there. Hey, you see me on the old TV, on YouTube. If you're listening on the radio, this pause is because I'm taking a big sip of water. H2O, agua. Still necessary, still needing air conditioning help, and soon you'll need heat help. River City's total maintenance is there for you. NOLAAC.com is all you need to know. NOLAAC.com. Air conditioning, heat help. Honest AC and heat experts that come immediately. NOLAAC.com. It's another edition of Fridays with Fletcher Mackel joins us, WDSU Channel 6 Sports. What up, Fletch?
Not a lot, Corey. What's up?
SOS, same old stuff. Save our ship. Same old beep. That's about it.
Yeah.
How about with you?
Yeah, I would agree.
Isn't Friday like your WDSU Channel 6 official day off?
Yeah, today I am off. Yes, today I am off.
No, it's so weird. I mean, I'm just saying, this ratings thing, it just spikes on Fridays during the sportscast on Channel 6 and then plummets the rest of the time. Spikes on Friday. And just, it's crazy. I never seen anything like this. What do you think that's all about?
Yeah.
Rating spikes when you're not there. They like Sharif Ishak better than you. Thoughts?
I mean, he's a good dude. He does a good job.
He does. Oh, boy. Fletcher Mackel's with us. Hey, Fletch, some good news. Derek Carr flinging the ball around. I mean, what do you think? 50-50 shot? Better than that? Is he playing Sunday?
No. I mean, I think it's about 90%, I'd say, he's playing it.
Nice.
So, yeah. I'll say this. I was out there on Wednesday. Carr, the quarterback's always talked to for years. I've always gone out there. When Drew Brees was here on Wednesday, Carr now on Wednesday. And I was there. I mean, I asked him several questions and listening to he went for about 15 minutes with the local media. And I remember I came out immediately and did live shots on Channel 6 and said, look, call me crazy. I just heard from a guy who I think is playing on Sunday. I understand. I saw that injury. I understand it could have been worse. I know he hasn't picked up a football in a couple of days. That did not sound like someone who was worried about playing. I mean, he was asked, could he play if he didn't throw a ball all week? Said yes. Said he's been taking mental reps. Said he doesn't like to miss games with injury. That was when you're around people and you kind of get a feel. I'm not saying I'm always right because I'm not always right, but I got a feel that dude's playing. I went on live TV and said, look, I may be crazy, but he's playing. And guess what? He's playing. And so, they haven't officially said he's starting, but the fact that he was throwing passes today and ran the practice with no limitations says to me he's the starting quarterback and he's playing, Coupled
with the fact, I don't know if he is the size that it says on the roster as far as weight and height, but you can physically see, the guy's got big old guns on him. Look, a lot of quarterbacks do in today's game, Fletch. But compared to yesteryear quarterbacks and even a handful of some of today's quarterbacks, the guy is physically built more than just what he needs to be a quarterback. So he looks pretty tough. He's been pretty tough. That's his rep throughout his career, pretty much. So it isn't like some glass guy, that's getting thrown to the ground. He seems like he's a pretty tough QB. Am I right or wrong about that?
I think you're. I mean, look, he's only missed 2 games due to injury in 9+ years. He's in his 10th season, and he's only missed 2 games. One, a back issue, and one, an ankle issue, and that was in 2015-16. He's played every game, 17 through 22. Hasn't missed one because of injury, and so yeah, I think he's put together. I mean, when you're around this guy, you can see he's an athlete. He's listed at 6'2", 215, I think, and he's 6'2", 215.
That's legit.
So,
like you talking to him, because I said that to his neighbor across the street. A friend of mine is like his neighbor, and I said, yeah, he's physically tough and big. He's like, dude, he's not that big. He's like my size. He's like 6 feet maybe. I'm like, no, he's like 6'2", 220, 250. Yeah. Oh, no way. He might be 205. He's a little bigger than Breeze. I'm like, I think you're wrong. So, but this is,
I'll say this. He's probably just 6'2", but he's 6'2".
I'm with you. I hear you.
Breeze was just 6 feet.
Maybe.
Breeze was put together. That's the one thing people don't realize is Breeze was, a 210, 215 pounder. And so Breeze was put together in a sturdy way as well, even though I think Carr's probably a little bit thicker and more athletic. But Carr doesn't walk in like Peyton Manning, who's 6'6", and it's like, whoa, man, he's huge.
Right.
But Carr is right at
legitimate NFL quarterback height. No, I mean the few times that I interviewed Drew Brees in a locker room and the few times that I happened to interview Michael Vick, just because I remember it because of the height. Brees and Vick are like identical. Size, weight, height, body fat, all of it. I'd say they're like both 5'11" and 7/8, about 208, 212, 4% body fat, something ridiculous like that. No, but neither one, I don't think 6 feet. But anyway, no, I was just curious. I think Carr is physical, and that's a huge help. So yeah, I think you're right on the money that he'll probably be starting and then handing the ball off and pitching it out and throwing it to Alvin Kamara. That's huge, huh?
Yeah, I mean, look, with all due respect, Jameis Winston has become, since he got to New Orleans, I'm all for people getting second chances and becoming better people. Jameis Winston has become a really good human being. He dealt with some issues, obviously, some off the field troubles when he was, Florida State and then with the Buccaneers. Jameis Winston is a rock solid human now, who has become a really good teammate and a really good man. And so I just don't think he's a really good starting quarterback. And so, having Carr with Kamara back, I mean, look, the offense wasn't lighting it up before. I think they're going to get better as the season goes on. But having Carr with Kamara, with the weapons, and then hopefully with the offensive line playing better, you're going to get a solid offensive performance. Not the defense plays great again, and guess what? Jameis threw 3 picks, and we lost to a mediocre Bucs team.
Yep. Fletch, this is so weird. On Twitter today, there was a photo of you with another person where you were at something like a dinner or an event. So strange. I've never seen that with you on Twitter. Anyway, it was the Barrett-Jackson auction, and it was you and George Shinn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw George Shinn. He was great. 82 years old. It's like Jim Mora. Jim Mora is 88. And he's drinking from the fountain of youth. George Shinn looks great, sounds great, is in great shape. 82 years old. George Shinn, of course, was the original owner of the Hornets when they were in North Carolina, brought him to New Orleans, ended up selling the team to the NBA when some financial issues hit him, and then Tom and Gail Benson bought the team. But George Shinn was in town. He owns 100 vintage cars, he told me.
Wow.
And he's a big car collector. So he's got a 1936 Chevrolet Woody.
Wow.
That he's named Honolulu Lulu, and he's auctioning it off, and all of the proceeds he's giving to Maui relief efforts this weekend. So
what a nice guy.
A really classy deal.
No, classy move. Coming to New Orleans. Yeah, the Barrett-Jackson auctions all weekend long. I think the really big stuff's tomorrow, Ferraris and it's super exotics and stuff, if I'm not mistaken, Fletch. I got some car buddies that are enthusiasts on that end.
Yeah, and I'll say this, I had a chance to go walk around and they got some primo collectibles. I'm not like some big car collector. I appreciate, my dad used to take my brother and I to like World of Wheels growing up. And so I appreciate classic cars and older automobiles, and I really do like that stuff. This was one of those ones where, you walk around and you're like, man, oh man, this is like
I heard your 1984 diesel Mercedes is running down the line tomorrow at the Barrett-Jackson auction. Is that true?
If somebody at the Barrett-Jackson Auto wants to take a flyer on a 1984 diesel Mercedes, I'm all for it.
I got $1,700.
And they need more than that.
Oh, boy. Yeah. All right. I'll never forget, Fletcher. I used to be like you, covered sports, aggressive. I was at that Lakers Hornets game in 01 at the arena. It's like a preseason game or some exhibition game or something.
Yeah.
And fourth quarter, it dawned on me. I went and borrowed someone's binoculars and just started scouting out the suites, and I found where Shin was. And I remember him coming out. He had on a 2-button suit coat, like a sport coat, but made out of leather, all leather. And interviewed him for a few seconds about the move. And the best part was Kobe Bryant in the locker room. No one talking to Kobe, where I pulled out a folding chair and sat with him one-on-one. Shaquille O'Neal had 25 people around him. It was like it was like Kobe year 1 or 2, it's like 01. Anyway, it was pretty cool how Kobe was ignored. All right, you ready for rapid fire? 10 seconds, literally each answer, no longer.
I do my best.
Pretend you're at channel 6. You've got 7 seconds each answer. UAB at Tulane. They better be ready, but preseason game, right?
Yeah, Tulane wins. It's a joke. Tulane's going to beat it by 3 touchdowns.
11 a.m. kickoff. LSU, Ole Miss, 5 o'clock from Oxford on ESPN.
Yeah, dogfight. Offensive dogfight. LSU wins, though, to the better team.
Yep. And the Saints.
I think it's going to be an ugly, ugly game. It may set offensive football back 50 years, but it's going to be the Saints in a low-scoring game.
Fletch, love having you on the program. Thanks.
All right, Gore.
That's Fletcher Mackel.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
For over 20 years, serving healthy, fresh, authentic Middle Eastern cuisine, Lebanon's Cafe, in the Carrollton section of Uptown on the streetcar line, Wednesday through Monday, 11 a.m. to 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
The sounds of New Orleans, huh? Corey Johnson back at you on a Friday afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. Speaking of the sounds of New Orleans, that would be WWOZ. Their fund drive, their fundraiser, Guardian of the Groove or something like that. I think today's the last day. I dropped them a croaker, $100, and I'm getting some funky tie-dyed T-shirt for it. Pretty cool. Anyway, it's amazing how folks from around the world support WWOZ. I think it's one of the most popular intranet device radio stations in the country. Michael Hecht might know something about that. He's with Greater New Orleans Inc. What's up, Michael?
How you doing, KJ? It's a beautiful Friday afternoon out here, actually. I'm down here outside the Four Seasons Hotel, and there's a light breeze, the dappled sun coming in.
That's so crazy.
This is nice.
You're at the Four Seasons, and I'm doing a remote broadcast from that hotel with the pool across the street from the Hilario Center in Avondale.
Well, a boy can dream.
Yeah, wow. They're going to bring me some little hot dogs wrapped in dough or something. Pretty excited. Got a toothpick to handle, and this is great.
Hey, listen, KJ, I'm waiting to get my car here. My phone's at like 3%, so if I drop off, I apologize. I'll call you back as soon as I power up.
That's okay. I'm waiting on public transit at the bus stop, so it's all the same thing. It's all the same, bro. Four Seasons, Avondale. Michael Hecht's with us from Greater New Orleans. Hey, all kidding aside, Barrett Jackson Auction, that's pretty cool stuff going on at the convention center. Car enthusiasts that like this stuff, the focus is on New Orleans this weekend.
The focus sure is. I mean, Barrett Jackson is a massive, massive auction. You're going to get thousands of people coming in here, so it's a great thing to have. And, I'm the proud owner of a 1970 El Camino, so it's near and dear to me. Not that what I have would make its way in that show.
Yeah, I was asking Fletcher Mackel if his 40-year-old 1984 diesel Mercedes with 250,000 plus miles is running this weekend, and he said no. Yeah, I was going to ask you about the old El Camino. That one at least would have a chance.
Well, it would. Actually, I got to say, I was out of town, but it was entered by a friend in the NOLA Brewing Beers and Gears festival last weekend, and it actually won Best Muscle Car, which I think the prize was, it was a can of beer on a block of wood with one of those typed out labels, Best Muscle Car, but I'm taking it.
Nice. I like that. Let's let the non sequiturs continue. We'll actually go backwards. WWOZ. That's a nice little, that's gravy. It's part of like the, I don't know what people think about St. Louis around the world or Atlanta or Cleveland or San Antonio or Denver. I don't know. I think of St. Louis, I think of the Arch. I think of Cleveland, I'm like, oh, wow, I think they have a rock and roll museum for some reason. I think of San Antonio, I think of the Alamo. I mean, this, but New Orleans, there's so many things that represent us. Music's one of them. OZ is just a nice little gravy, some lagniappe. It's a hot internet station that's listened to around the country. People put it on as background music in shops and stores around the country. And when you look at these fundraisers, Michael, the donation list is from around the country.
Oh, no, it's true. I was actually meeting with the deputy mayor of Helsinki this week for some reason, and he was talking about, oh, yeah, we love the New Orleans Jazz in Helsinki. So, I mean, it is part of a global branding strategy. It's been probably one of the most effective branding strategies in world history.
The festing in place stuff coming up, that's just great. It's just it's a nice extra. It's really incredible. There's so many things that make your job easier than your competitors, yet there's at least 2 to 1 maybe of bad things that makes your job harder to your competitors, like in Austin or Nashville, let's say, much less Atlanta, Houston, Dallas.
Yeah, it is it's a paradox at times.
It is.
But I think that our positives nobody's ever going to be able to recreate, and our negatives for the most part are ones that we can at least mitigate. If we get our act together. So I try to focus on mitigating the negatives as much as accentuating the positives, frankly.
The story I've told you of the guy picking up the Bass Pro Shop site director from Louis Armstrong on like a Tuesday, driving out to the Michoud exit that they knew all about for the proposed Bass Pro Shop. They're there to look at the site. 10:30 a.m., my guy pulls up on that exit, and there's a car on fire, just orange flames, just engulfed black smoke. He said the deal just ended right there at that very moment.
Yeah.
The blood drained out.
That's what it comes down to. But look, kind of related to that, looking at the crime statistics that we have going on right now, we're actually looking a lot better. We're down 20% in homicides, 30% in armed robbery, and 42%, I think, in carjacking. So a long way to go. But, I do think that credit is due in part just to kind of the cyclical nature of violence, but also the work that we've done in increased arrests and getting guns off the street. It's beginning to have some effect. So now we gotta keep it up.
And now you got the best of both worlds. I mean, take the politics aside. I think anyone fair and objective sees Michelle Woodfork as like a real cop, kind of a, it's in her blood type of thing. That's her vocation. That's what she does. She doesn't get the Chiefs gig, but then you get Ann Kirkpatrick, who I had on the program yesterday. She does, and you get to keep both of them. So that momentum hopefully continues, and hopefully Kirkpatrick can get New Orleans out of this consent decree and move the police force forward.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable the way it worked out. And Kirkpatrick has done 2 things better. One, she's done a good job about showing respect to Chief Woodford coming into this thing and saying, look, she's going to be part of my team. And so that's, been very smart on her part.
Yep.
And then, and then the other thing is that everybody that has been meeting with her and talking with her has come away impressed. She's saying she's thoughtful, she's inclusive, she brings experience, she doesn't really have any other agenda because she just wants to make a difference in 2 years. So I'm optimistic so far.
Yep. She talked about aggressive recruiting. I talked about that, coupled with, Michael, we don't have, where we like decriminalize marijuana or things like this, or not radar and pull it over people for mild speeding, just some crazy driver that might get pulled over. Like the minor stuff, like we don't have time for that. The drunk guy in the quarter, we don't have time for manpower for that. So you take it a step further, and we don't have time for street cops to be doing paperwork or any kind of trivial nonsense that's part of, quote, police work that anyone can do, Michael. Like the talent needs to be on the field. Someone else can be on the sideline with the laptop figuring out all the other stuff.
No, that's 1,000% true. So it's things like civilianization.
Yep.
We have some examples of that so far. There's an organization we've been supporting called On Scene Services. You might have seen some of their cars around, but if you have a non-injury car accident, they can come out and handle all the paperwork instead of a uniformed officer, or many of them taking 2 or 3 hours. And so, there's some examples, and we just have to keep pushing that, because we're not going to get back to the 1,200 officers that we need for many years. Even though this year we're doing better, we're going to probably break even instead of losing 120, but we still got a long way to go.
Michael, were you involved in any of these sewage and water board, city, state, Fed meetings in the loop on all this stuff, this potential pipeline? That seems like the answer. It's sort of a catch-22, this wedge. Oh, boy, New Orleans has another problem. But then we get this, $150, $200 million solution that works for the future as well.
Well, I was joking with somebody that our primary strategy seems to be disasters. But that being what it is, I've been involved in a bunch of stuff, kind of just offline conversations. And the good news is that everybody is working towards a solution. And everybody seems to say they think they can get it done in just about the amount of time, which is, encouraging. And people are focused on this now. They probably should have been focused a couple months ago. But it kind of falls under the better late than never. And at this point, I'm feeling like the worst outcome, which would be, months of disruption, is going to be avoided. And so my guess right now is that if there is disruption, it'll be time limited.
I don't want to say thank goodness for, or it's a silver lining, but because you have flooding in Iowa, tornadoes in Oklahoma, earthquakes in California, hurricanes hitting major East Coast cities. I don't ever remember in my life hurricanes hitting like north of Virginia. So like when New York City, Manhattan, Jersey's getting crushed by hurricanes, it's not good, but it does sort of, hey, Louisiana isn't just whining and crying all the time. There are legitimate catastrophes.
Well, it's very important for the things that we're dealing with right now for property insurance. Specifically, it's critically important that it's not just Louisiana, and that it is, California, Texas, Florida, Oklahoma that's dealing with these weather issues, because it's going to give us the political clout to implement the solutions that we need. For example, I work now talking about formulating a national reinsurance backstop program to help support the reinsurance market and thereby the insurance market. We couldn't pull that off if it was just Louisiana. But if it's, Texas all the way up to New York, I think we actually have a real chance.
Hey, Michael, it's Friday. It's a little before 5. You got time to hang on for one more quick segment, or do you have to run? I'm giving you carte blanche today.
Well, I think, I've got a phone that's on 2% right now. So let me say my sign off now, just because I'm afraid that you'll come back and I'll be gone, and then you'll wonder what happened. So let me just do this while I still got a little oxygen in the tank, and I tell everybody that it feels like that magical moment of October 15th is almost here, when the weather gets gorgeous and we're kind of like San Diego with culture. So I'm going to look at that future.
That's what I said.
Michael Hecht, always a pleasure to see you, brother.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here, and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring, and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa, and now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
I'm not one to remember. Let me put it this way. I went to LSU. I was in Hatcher Dorm. Right behind Hatcher Dorm, the concessions that we would use for the dorm was at Tiger Stadium, at those dorms. So I guess I could say things, the LSU game this weekend. At my freshman year in the shadows of Tiger Stadium, that influences me or gives me a better opinion on LSU football. I'm not big on that kind of stuff. I'm not big on rattling off been to X amount of these or 10 of those, or I don't get on Twitter and say it's an honor that so-and-so is awarding me this or that. I'm just not built that way. I don't know why. I'm not saying I don't have an ego. I come on the show and do this show every day, but I don't get my personal life involved on social media much. I don't think I brag a lot, pat myself on the back, that kind of stuff. And this, I don't think's bragging or anything at all. It's more of a testament of what Kobe Bryant was like. I was talking with Fletcher Mackel earlier before Michael Hecht was on the program. I saw Fletcher Mackel posted on Twitter a photo of him and George Shinn, the old Hornets, then Hornets owner when they were in North Carolina, Charlotte Hornets. The photo was with George Shinn today. George Shinn was the old Charlotte Hornets owner, moved the team to New Orleans. So anyway, there was an exhibition game, and the Lakers were playing the Charlotte Hornets. It's like, I'm guessing 2001 in New Orleans at the arena. And supposedly Shin was there just checking it out. Woolrich was his partner. He had like a 2-lane connection like New Orleans. New people, thought he could get it done. That it wouldn't have happened without his minority partner, Woolrich, who had a connection in New Orleans. So anyway, Shin's in his suite. It's fourth quarter. I get some binoculars out. I'm figuring he must be in a suite. I find him in a suite. And then I get the suite number from just looking on a little chart. And before the game ends, I'm right outside the door of that suite with my microphone and tape recorder, digital recorder, whatever I was using back then, and got a couple of questions into George Shin. I remember him wearing a black, like, it's like a sports coat, like a suit coat, 2-button, but made out of leather, black leather. And got just a few quick questions in. Then I beeline down to the Lakers locker room because Kobe Bryant was there and Shaquille O'Neal was there, former LSU star. This is like Kobe Bryant year 1 or 2, maybe. It's like 01. So you can figure out when Kobe came in. He's just a few years at best with the Lakers, just a few years in. This could have been like 2000. Anyway, Shaquille O'Neal was more of a seasoned star, and he's back in New Orleans, LSU. So I go in the locker room. No one's even talking to Kobe Bryant. He's alone. I look over, and my first inclination was probably Shaquille O'Neal. There's 20 media members around Shaquille O'Neal. Kobe Bryant is sitting on a folding chair, like unwrapping tape or untying his shoes, something. I walk over to Kobe Bryant. I'm like, hey, man, you got a minute? He said, sure. So I pull up a chair and I sit next to him. I was like, how you doing? Just talking to him, nothing recording anything. He's like 19, 20, 21 years old. I don't know. This 23 years ago, I'm like 30 something. And talking to him about basketball, coming straight to the NBA, the Italian league team he owns, speaking Italian, all this stuff. He's like, what do you do? I said, I do a talk radio program. He goes, well, we can do an interview now, and I was like, well, or maybe, like, I don't know how it went down, but I was like, can you join me on my program tomorrow? He goes, well, we're going to be in Memphis tomorrow. What time? And I told him the time. He goes, yeah, I can join you. And so I go, okay. And he goes, I'm giving him my cell number. He goes, don't give me your cell number. Give me the studio call-in number. I'm like, damn, this guy's astute. So I'm like, here it is. And he's like, all right, what time? And I told him, I put it on the card and I gave it to him. He said, shook hands. He looked me in the eye and said, I'll call you tomorrow. I said, great. So anyway, I'm doing my show the next day, and it was like a remote location in Kenner. I remember this. And I was sitting outside of like some cell phone place. And people are driving by honking the horn, whatever, that kind of stuff. And I told the story, and I was like, we're expecting Kobe Bryant at 20 after, whatever. And literally like 2 or 3 people calling and go, he's not calling in, dude. You're foolish to think he's calling in. And literally while a guy is telling me I'm foolish that he's not calling in and how naive I am in green and kind of busting my chops. And I'm saying, I think he's going to call in. In my left ear, my producer's like, Corey, Kobe Bryant's on the line. So I go to the line and it's Kobe Bryant and did that interview. I actually replayed it when he passed away. I found the reel-to-reel tape I have of it. I kept it. It's in like a shoebox somewhere in a closet, and I found it and played it on the air when Kobe Bryant died a little over a year ago. Played that interview with him on the air. I didn't sound too much different. Kobe Bryant didn't sound too much different. Just shows you the class of Kobe Bryant. Now, Shaquille O'Neal was young and rambunctious. I think today, Shaquille O'Neal would be more like Kobe Bryant was then. But Shaquille O'Neal was like a big kid in his mid-20s. And I remember, Shaquille O'Neal, mutual friends that we know that Shaquille's tight with and I'm tight with, that he's like, sure, he acknowledged. He's kind of looking above me, looking at me, looking around me. I say, can you come on my show? Here's my phone number. He's there. He grabs my card without even kind of looking at me, just sticks it in the top pocket of this blue jean jacket he was wearing. And I remember walking out of there going, that card will be found by whoever cleans that jacket. Shaquille O'Neal forgot about that as soon as he put that card in there. He will not be calling me tomorrow, and he did not call me. And Kobe Bryant did. And I knew just by talking to him. Now, Shaquille O'Neal today, I think would. But I think the difference is Shaquille O'Neal in his mid-20s was like a big kid, and Kobe Bryant in his late teens, early 20s was like a 40-year-old man as far as maturity. What's that, Blue Boy? Jack Nicklaus was another class act as well to interview. Greg Norman was a jerk. Tiger Woods' dad was a jerk. Interesting. Michael Jordan was a jerk. Good one, Blue Boy. 5 o'clock powwow
You're
next.
on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM. WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers Breitling time, 5 p.m.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Here's New Orleans native son, Corey Johnson.
New Orleans City Councilman Freddie King joins us.
So I want to first say thanks for having me. And believe it or not, man, I used to listen to your show all the time driving home. So it's an honor to be on.
Freddie, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you on the program. Thanks.
The official afternoon talk show of the city of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Wow. I've got an entire 5 o'clock power hour planned, ready to go. 2 minutes ago, I get this note from corporate, from the suits upstairs. The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on Friday is canceled. Instead, reruns of Night Court. Night Court coming your way next, apparently, unless Drew Brees steps up. Number 9, please. Yeah, there he is. Thank you, Drew Brees. We appreciate that. Thank you so much, Mr. Drew Brees, for that introduction. Corey Johnson back at you. Yeah, you right. Fired up. It's the 5 o'clock power hour on a fantasy Friday. It doesn't get any better than that. The weekend's upon us. Did I mention it's Friday? Did I mention it's 5 o'clock? Work week's done. Weekend's in front of us. Yeah, you right. Hey, if you missed the last hour, you missed Fridays with Fletcher Mackel joined us. He says Derek Carr's going to start Sunday. That's his opinion. He took reps today in practice, looks ready to go. That's great news. Alvin Kamara back with the Saints. Michael Hecht joined us from Greater New Orleans, Inc. We do that every Friday. Economic news from Michael Hecht. Hey, coming up in a little over 10 minutes, about 12 minutes from now, we'll go to Uptown, the Carrollton neighborhood, the Riverbend section of Uptown. About a block and a half or so from where Carrollton and St. Charles meet, right off River Road, Dante Street, about 50 feet off River Road, or what is it, going blank, Leak Avenue in New Orleans, right on the river. We're going to go to Brigtsen's restaurant. They've been at it for nearly 40 years in that over 100-year-old little Creole cottage on Dante. I love there's Brigtsen's. There's this little Creole cottage next door to Brigtsen's that's like Talbot's, ladies' dress shop. Then next to that is sort of a pseudo-modern. It's probably like 40 years old, but it was well done. It's architecturally nice. It sort of blends in as well as possible. It's not ugly. This sort of brown brick strip mall right on River Road, literally on River Road, parking on River Road. So you hit Dante off River Road, park right in that Dante Center parking lot, and it's about a 50-foot walk to the front door at Brigtsen. So lots of convenient parking, lit up. And then in a second, you're under the crepe myrtles and the oak tree in front of Brigtsen's on Dante. And it's just so good. You Old Metairie, Old Jefferson Parish folks, if you can get to Causeway and River Road, you're less than 5 minutes from Brigtsen's. It's that close. Like 10 minutes from Old Metairie, less than 10 minutes from Old Jefferson. We'll go to Brigtsen's restaurant. World class, priced right. It's not cheap, but for what it is, there's a lot of high-end restaurants like Brigtsen's in New Orleans. I'd say if there are 50 that are that high-end, but 40, 45 of them aren't as good as Brigtsen's, and most of them are more expensive than Brigtsen's. I would say for what you're getting, the high-end restaurant, the service, the quality of food, just highest-end restaurant you can get, it's priced below what it should be a little bit. Moderately priced, which is a nice plus. Anyway, I love visiting with Frank Brigtsen. And I always say this, it's not a hype of his restaurant. We might go through the menu and what he's serving and stuff like that, but it's more of like, this is like a real high-end, great New Orleans restaurant that serves a lot of New Orleans food and New Orleans seafood and local vegetables and things of that nature. So it's nice just to know season to season what's going on, how to cook something, all that kind of stuff. I just like talking food with Frank Brigtsen. He's been at it 50 years, worked with K. Paul at K. Paul, before that with Ella Brennan at Commander's Palace. So, and he's had his restaurant with his wife and his wife's two sisters, total family affair. Been doing that for like 38 years. And just some incredible dishes. I mean, this last crawfish season, I'm in my mid-50s. You think you've tried everything, you've had everything. And I've had all of these things, but not at this level. First off, two things came from Brigtsen's during crawfish season. This corn and crawfish soup, not only the best version of that I've ever had, but one of the best cups of soup I've ever had in my life. Went back the next day and got some to go, to heat up at home, to kind of eat with something I was grilling. It was that good. So this corn and crawfish soup, I was like, oh my God, some of the best soup I've ever eaten in my life. And then a week or two later, I have Frank on the show, and he's talking about he's got a crawfish etouffee appetizer. And kind of brown, not orange. And crawfish etouffee, jambalaya. I mean, things like this are just, most versions are terrible. Like anyone makes them, they just throw something together. It's got brown rice and sausage cut up in little quarter-like pieces, and they think it's jambalaya. It just, I would rather not have to drudge through a boring dish like that that's sort of edible. Red beans and rice. So many people just butcher these things. They kind of just go through the motions and make them, and they're not very good. I thought about Restaurant Mandich on St. Claude that closed after Katrina, before Katrina. The crab bisque. The crawfish etouffee was special. I could eat an entree of this crawfish etouffee. It was just wonderful. It was, every bite was fantastic. It wasn't drudging through and Chinese crawfish. It was local crawfish. Frank Brigtsen had a crawfish etouffee appetizer. I got two of them as an entree. It was off the charts. It was so damn good. I was like, my God, real crawfish etouffee, finally. And then I went to La Boca, Adolfo Garcia's steakhouse down in the warehouse district, the convention center and went in. And what I like about his place, I don't think I've had like a New York strip or a ribeye, and definitely not like a filet there, because it's an Argentine steakhouse and you want to get like skirt steak, hanger steak, flank steak, those cuts. And they're fantastic, more flavorful, and they know how to cook them, and they're tender and juicy and wonderful. So I went in there and I got like a hanger steak. And then I got the crawfish empanada appetizer, which was Homemade Louisiana crawfish tails stuffed in this dough, flash fried. It was like the best crawfish pie I've ever eaten in my life. So much so, like a couple of days later, I went in there and got like a skirt steak and crawfish empanadas. And the next week I went in there and said, give me 2 orders of crawfish empanadas to go. And I took that home and ate 4 of those for dinner one night. So no, I mean, we don't eat to live in New Orleans. We live to eat. And I certainly do. I mean, lunch, dinner, why am I going to eat just something ordinary or drab when for a little bit of money, a mediocre amount of money, you can get something really, really fantastic? Like 2 appetizers from Brigtsen's to make an entree, things of that nature. And just this off season in my mid-50s, 3 incredible crawfish dishes. A crawfish etouffee that I haven't had like that high quality, a real crawfish etouffee, not something terrible and boring and generic. First time in 15, 20 years. Just fantastic. Crawfish pie makes me not want to eat any other crawfish pie. Maybe like Weeda's from Abbeville. But boy, that empanada from La Boca, my God, incredible. And then Frank Brigtsen and that crawfish and corn soup was off the charts. No, it's great to live in New Orleans. It's great to have Leidenheimer Baking Company, part of New Orleans. Since the late 1800s, baking that Leidenheimer French bread since 1896. It's kind of crazy how long they've been doing it. They've been baking it in New Orleans since 1896. They continue to bake it today in New Orleans. Over 125 years later, 5 generations family owned and operated. Yeah, I mentioned places like Brigtsen's and just great restaurants. Leidenheimer French bread, great po' boy sandwich. Leidenheimer French bread, part of the fabric of New Orleans. Truly good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread, Leidenheimer Baking Company. Corey Johnson with you. It is a Fantasy Friday edition.
The Port of New
show.
Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love. More. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, fuller part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Served in New Orleans' finest restaurants, Leidenheimer French bread.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store, and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" He said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
This is one of my favorite things I do all week long. Seriously. I love doing talk radio, talk television. I love doing this show. I love New Orleans. I'm passionate about it every day. I try to bring it every day. My best today, better tomorrow. But boy, I love getting Frank Brigtsen on this program every single Friday to talk food, talk New Orleans. Such a great guy. Award winner, like James Beard award winner, like world recognized, yet ridiculously humble. Gotta love Frank Brigtsen. He's with us again on the program. What's up, Frank, on a Friday?
Where you at, KJ? TGIF!
You got that right, man, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful Friday in New Orleans.
Yep. What you got going on? You going to go see a movie, just chilling out, playing cards with friends? You got nothing going on a Friday night in your life.
I might go serve 100 people some nice food. I don't know. Thinking about it.
Thinking about it. For 40 years almost, you've been doing that over on Dante Street. What's happening at Brigtsen's? They're about to start rolling in, huh?
Yeah, we got a big early turn tonight, which is normal for us. People are eating earlier these days. And we got all kinds of good stuff, man. We got beautiful flounder in today. Pan-fried flounder with roasted pecans and Meunier sauce, a Brigtsen's classic.
Oh, yeah.
We changed our bread pudding. We have butterscotch bread pudding with butterscotch sauce and whipped cream. Oh, my God, I had one last night. So delicious.
Hey, I love this story. Every Friday, same couple, same table, same order. Every week. I mean, what, 48, 50 times a year?
Yes, they're back tonight. They skipped the last 2 weeks because they were traveling to see their grandchildren. And they're back, 7:30 every Friday, same table. There's a little brass plaque with their name on it. Been eating with us for 37 years. Same time, same channel.
Wow. Wow. And obviously married for longer than that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They're a little older than me, and a really prominent New Orleans family. You know, their fathers founded a company together that you would know. I don't want to say the names.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah, we just love them. And we love the children and the grandchildren, too. And one of the grandchildren is pregnant now, so there's going to be a great-grandchild.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
What do they get? They're pretty consistent. What do they get every week?
Well, she really likes the blackened tuna with smoked corn sauce and red black bean salsa. She likes a big, thick piece of tuna, extra rare. That's her order. And he likes the flounder meuniere, but he likes it broiled, not pan-fried.
Wow.
Yep. And they usually get a salad. And they're also, this is their thing. We got to be sure we have this, always. On their entrees, 86 potato and veg, add double servings of dirty rice. That's their thing, man. They just can't get enough of dirty rice.
Good for them. I don't blame
Yeah.
them. Hey, now, how's the meuniere come out grilled, not pan sautéed?
Well, usually we'll have a regular meuniere pan-fried at the same time because it's 7:30 Friday night. So it's the same sauce. It'll be made in the skillet where the fish was fried.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, we just make it from scratch. It's still good.
Yeah, so the flavor's identical. It's just slightly lighter and a different outside on the fish. That's about it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, guy's just trying, I guess, to not get the fried and the crunchy.
Yeah, he stays away from fried food, which is understandable.
Yeah, no, good for him. And he's still getting that incredible dish. Are you kidding me? And he's like, wink, wink, cheating a little with the sauce a little. He knows.
Yeah, he does get the sauce on the side, which kind of, he can control how much butter he takes in. But
yeah,
probably a loaf of French bread involved too.
Yeah, that's hard to beat, hot French bread with the room temperature butter. I was just talking about Leidenheimer. I can eat the damn whole little mini loaf. I was talking about you earlier. I was talking about crawfish season. I said, every year, it's great living in New Orleans, but it's not like every year you discover some new meal or new dish that is fantastic, off the charts, that you want to go back again and again and again. And within about 2 weeks, and they're temporary because it's seasonal, I had the crawfish and corn soup. And I was saying a little while ago, I was like, not only the best version of that I've ever had, but maybe the best soup I've ever eaten. It was off the charts good. And then that crawfish etouffee you made, I said I got it once as an appetizer and came back a few days later and got 2 of them and made an entree out of it.
I like the way you do things, Corey. Yeah, I was thinking about crawfish this week as well because I'm getting low on my Rex crab bowl, so I got to order another 100 pounds of that. That lasts about 8 months.
100 pounds. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like the Rex on when you're boiling crawfish or any boils, right?
Yeah, I'm a Rex guy. That's what I like a lot.
Yeah, a New Orleans product.
There's a lot of good ones out there, but I've been using this one for so long, and it's the flavor profile that I like. I buy an unsalted crab boil powder, and then you can control your own salt and stuff. And I had a couple of other things as well, but that's the flavor I like. It's complex and has a beautiful balance to it.
Hey, Frank, as a chef, where do you draw the line on, like, I'll make my own crab boil, I'll make my own ketchup, I'll make my own Worcestershire sauce? Like, where do you just like, this is ridiculous. Why am I wasting my time making ketchup when Heinz is pretty damn good and is sort of the industry standard? Like, how do I take that up to another level? How do I take Lee and Perrins up to another level? How do I take Rex crab boil up to, I don't know. It seems almost futile, like it's a waste of time. But also, I don't want to insult a chef like you where, yes, Corey, I can take just about anything to an upper level. But is it a waste of time?
Well, that's a good question, Corey. And I think this kind of started back in the 90s. Chefs were, I'm going to just make this from scratch. I'm not going to use a commercial product. I can tell you, honestly, I have tried to make my crab boil the way I like it a dozen times, and I cannot get close to the Rex. And there's just some things you just leave to the professionals. I endorse brand names. Lee and Perrins is the best Worcestershire. Sorry. Heinz ketchup is the best ketchup. I was talking with one guy that works with me the other day. He was putting a Band-Aid on. And we both said we only buy Johnson & Johnson Band-Aids.
Yeah.
I only buy Johnson & Johnson Q-tips.
I'm the same way.
Certain things that they just do it the best.
No, I'm the same way. I've never put a Curex Band-Aid on in my life. Never. I only have Band-Aid brand. I like French's yellow mustard, and I like Blue Plate mayonnaise. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I know. When we were in Gulf Shores a couple of years ago, evacuated for Ida, we got mustard at the grocery store, and it was not French's. They didn't have it. It was like Food Club brand or something.
Come on, I'm going to drive the car off the cliff. Stop.
It was awful.
Yep.
It was so watery and flavorless. It was terrible. How do you screw up mustard?
No, well, the ketchup thing is really telling. When you go into a restaurant and they don't have Heinz ketchup, they have Food Club or AAA or just some other ketchup, you're like, really? You're skimping on the ketchup? It's just sort of telling about the restaurant when they do that, just a lot of generic products and the like. I do love French's mustard. Heinz mustard isn't bad, though. Heinz makes
that's true.
They make a pretty, it's like right next to French's. It's a close, I can handle that. And I'm like, this is like a French's imitation.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of French bread, last night I went and visited a table. It was a mom and dad and a little girl, probably 5 years old. And they had gotten their main courses, and she was digging into the butter dish with her French bread. I mean, she was like on fire with this stuff. And I leaned down on the table. I said, "You are just like Uncle Frank." I had that for lunch today. She loved that bread and butter. That's probably all she ate. She could not get enough. They were visitors, so they probably, this French bread's a new thing to them.
No, you bring a little Leinheimer loaf in that bag, and then that room temperature butter. I swear, when I was there eating the etouffee, I was like, stop eating the bread, Corey. Because I had, I want to eat that etouffee. I want to get some, barbecue shrimp or flounder, and then I want dessert and all that. So, yeah, you can knock out that loaf of bread easy. And with the room temperature butter, it's tough to beat.
When I'm lazy and at work and hungry, I'll have just a loaf of bread and butter, but I need 2 dishes of butter to do my loaf.
No, and I like you got the little piece, your 2 fingers are behind it, and you're cleaning out the little butter dish. Yep.
Absolutely. Nothing left, I guarantee you.
You got that right. Hey, Frank.
Fresh batch of filet gumbo with chicken and andouille sausage. And this is made with that really good Bell & Evans chicken, all natural, organic chicken, delicious.
And the andouille's Prudhomme, right?
Yeah, Paul Prudhomme's andouille.
Yep. Wow.
Really, really good.
Tough.
We were talking about Paul a lot this week, which is normal for me. Someone called me, a writer, to get an interview about Chef Paul's magic seasonings, and of course I had a lot to say about that. And I told her, when before he opened the factory to make the seasoning blends, I used to make them myself in a mixing bowl and just stir them up. And so, what I told her about it is, number one, if you're using a seasoning blend of any kind to cook with, you're halfway to good flavor. It's just such a brilliant
Why
way
wear
to
the
cook,
same old
especially the way
glasses
we
that
like
everyone
to
else
eat
is
with,
wearing? Stand out from the crowd.
well-seasoned,
Come to
not
Art and
spicy, but
Eyes.
well-seasoned.
Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com.
7610's the phone number.
New Orleans grocery store.
Riverbend.
Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Barone in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home. You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson.
Did you have any problem with Angel Reese? There was a photo of her coming off the bus, holding the phone with the...
And that was a bunch of bull. That was Photoshop, that young lady. That's social media for you. How dare somebody do that?
No, I was wondering if it was Photoshopped or if it was real.
Well, you just got the real answer from somebody who was there.
It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard. Producing tomorrow's talk radio today, Corey Johnson.
This is tomorrow's newspaper. Precisely. I already went further ahead into time to see what else happens.
Your View, Louisiana. That's Cox Channel 4 in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Lafayette. And live streaming at CoreyTalks.com.
Future. Unbelievable.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer. A little Sonny Landreth. YouTube Sonny Landreth and check out some of his stuff. Out of Lafayette, Eric Clapton said one of the best guitarists in the world was clearly like, yes, a better guitarist than I am. He kind of plays the lead and then fills in the gaps in between, like kind of lead pseudo rhythm at the same time. It's kind of crazy. There's no gaps. He'll have a riff. There's usually a pause, then another riff and a pause, another riff and a pause. He does a riff, fills in the gap. There's no pause. Does a riff, fills in the gap. There's no pause. Does another riff. Just continuous playing. He's really, really a great guitarist. And he's one of our own. Another great musician out of Louisiana, Sonny Landreth. Check him out on YouTube. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Check us out on YouTube. Each and every day, we're on the radio, we're on television, we're on YouTube, our YouTube channel, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson. Click to subscribe to it. It don't cost nothing. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Yeah, you're right. Lebanon's Cafe is open right now. They'll roll till 9:30 tonight. How about lamb chops tonight for dinner? 6 lamb chops. This grilled veggie medley comes on the side. And then you pick two Middle Eastern sides. 20-something bucks. 6 lamb chops. Essentially 3 sides. The grilled veggie medley. And then you pick 2 Middle Eastern sides like tabbouleh, baba ganoush, hummus mujedra, so much more. Lamb chops, 6 of them, 20-something bucks. Lebanon's Cafe, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn. Hey, if you missed yesterday's program, you can check it out on iTunes. You can check it out a lot of places. Anchor, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. I had Ann Kirkpatrick on the program yesterday, the NOPD chief. If you go on YouTube, it's right at the beginning of the segment for about 12, 15 minutes. Got in about 9 or 10 questions. Important stuff with Ann Kirkpatrick. Aggressive recruiting coupled with civilians doing a lot of jobs that NOPD do. That's a waste of time to have the NOPD street savvy cops that can make a difference sitting inside filling out paperwork. Waste of time. Talked about that. Violent crime, getting the numbers up, the consent decree, of course, and getting out of that. No, you can check that out. Ann Kirkpatrick yesterday, the NOPD chief, joining us on the program. It's typical Louisiana just spinning our wheels. I mean, in New Orleans, it is dominated by liberal Democrats. It's nauseating, like no alternative view, just dominated by liberal Democrats. State of Louisiana, dominated by conservative Republicans. No alternative view. And both are extreme. The Republicans that control the state of Louisiana, they're not mainstream Ronald Reagan Republicans. They're hardcore. They're wacky. They're insane. Like Jeff Landry, probably the next governor. No chance, no how, impossible that Jeff Landry moves the needle forward for Louisiana. It's impossible. It's a guarantee we'll continue to flounder with Jeff Landry. No different than LaToya Cantrell as mayor in New Orleans. No different at all. Just a different ideology. Just a different ideology. So it can be New Orleans and the loony liberals spinning their wheels, and it can be Jeff Landry and the wacky right spinning their wheels statewide. And they're going to do it statewide on this redistricting. I mean, the writing's on the wall. It's as clear as day. If the Louisiana legislature were worth its salt, they would just embrace this and move on. Instead, they're going to waste time and they're going to waste money. And the only real benefit about all this, they're going to get their asses handed to them in two ways. And what am I talking about? Talking about the U.S. Supreme Court, a conservative majority court, 6-3. A court that 3 of the nominees are Donald Trump nominees. Very conservative, right-leaning court. With only 50 votes needed in the Senate to pass a Supreme Court justice instead of the old school 60. The old school 60 didn't let Democrats or Republicans jam an extremist through. They only could jam through a moderate Republican or Democrat because they needed Democrat and or Republican votes to get it passed. You needed 60 votes, not a simple 50 majority. So no, you have more extreme with these 3 right-wing that Trump appointed. If you like right-wing and Trump, you love it. If you're an independent, you probably would rather see more moderate Republicans. If you're a liberal, you'd rather see Democrats. So it is what it is, and it's because of just an unnecessary, poorly done Democrat-Republican BS move that puts that at 50. So you're not, getting, I think, what the 60 vote whole point was there for, where you get more moderate, where you get more. The president's going to appoint their person no matter what, but it has to be one that's palatable by some from the other party, from the other party. And that's what made it really a great system. And the 50 kind of screws it up. Regardless, this right-leaning U.S. Supreme Court sides with the lower court in the state of Alabama, essentially saying their congressional districts violate the 1965 Voting Rights Act. And Alabama and their legislature were given a chance to fix this, and they simply never did. So the Supreme Court stepped in. Not only did they fix it, They said, okay, you have 7 congressional districts. 27% of the population of Alabama is black. You have 1 black majority district of 7. That represents about half of the demographic of Alabama as far as black folks. 2 of 7 districts is pretty much right at 27%, pretty much mirrors the black demographic in Alabama. So the Supreme Court said you can have 2 of 7 districts black majority, not just 1. Or the other way around, you'll have 5 majority white districts, not 6. It matches Alabama's racial demographics. The Supreme Court has ruled on it. Now, here's the kicker. Because Alabama had time to fix it themselves and never did, a lower court appointed, quote, expert will redraw those congressional districts, not the Alabama legislature. Because Louisiana, like New Orleans, loony left, too much of that, it's not smart. It's not the best thing. Because Louisiana is wacky right, extreme, it's not smart. It's not the best thing. Like the loony left in New Orleans, kind of cutting off their nose to spite their self-imploding, hurting themselves. Louisiana's going to do the same. They're fighting this. They want to keep Louisiana has 6 congressional districts. 1 is black majority, yet 33% of Louisiana's black. Literally, like 2 of 6 would match the demographics. So almost exactly like Alabama. With Alabama at 7 congressional districts, 1 majority black. It'll soon be 2 majority black of 7, mirroring the 27% demographic, black demographic in the state. And the 2 of 7 is 27%. Louisiana, 1 congressional district that's majority black, 6 districts, the state's 33% black. 2 of 6 mirrors the racial makeup. So there'll be 2 of 6 because the wacky right-wing Republican Louisiana legislature will be incapable of doing this right. And, in my opinion, a court-appointed expert will come in and redraw the Louisiana congressional district maps. Because Louisiana wacky right-wingers, just like the loony left in New Orleans, will cut off their nose to spite their face, will shoot themselves in the foot. They'll screw themselves over. It's guaranteed. So the U.S. Supreme Court ruling in Alabama this week, expect the same results inevitably after the Louisiana wacky right-wing led legislature exhausts all their fuel and it ends up 2 black majority districts and not the legislature, but an expert, a quote, expert appointed by the court redrawing those congressional districts. I have faith in Louisiana's Republican Party, like I have faith in the Democrats that run New Orleans, that they will screw the pooch, that they will butcher this. It'll be a snafu, a screw up of monumental proportions. But the end result will be the right result. 2 black majority districts in Louisiana. Hey, are you on the causeway right now? Why don't you call Trey Yen? It's Friday. A big to-go order. You walk in the house with a big to-go order from Trey Yen, everybody's happy. Curbside delivery. They'll walk that to-go order right out to your car. Or better yet, dine in. It's not Chinese food. It's Chinese cuisine at the foot of the causeway, you North Shore folks in Mandeville. 25 minutes from Lakeside Shopping Center, you South Shore folks. Trey Yen tonight for dinner.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Uptown, Carrollton, Riverbend, Holly Grove, Girktown, Gentilly, Lakefront, West Bank, Lakeview. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint.
Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Since 1896, a true taste of New Orleans. Leidenheimer French bread. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Yeah, you right. Some breaking news I was just looking into. Gregory Joseph could be out as communications director for the city of New Orleans. When interviewed by the Times-Picayune, NOLA.com today, he said, yeah, full stop October 3rd. Like, I'll be done October 3rd. And then the Times-Picayune basically goes with that story. They had communicated via text. Then he ends up calling the reporter back and is like, basically contradicting himself, trying to redact what he had said. One thing I think you can clearly say about Gregory Joseph, he's sort of like the Veronica White of this administration. You remember Veronica White under C. Ray Nagin? Beautiful hair, nice makeup, long nails, nicely dressed, just a nightmare of a person. just incompetent, had no idea, had no answers, didn't know what she was doing, just terrible. And then Stacey Head would ask her legitimate questions and she'd say it's sexist. And then she realized, oh God, Stacey Head's a woman too. Okay, it's racist, just making crap up. She was a nightmare and was full of it. And at the very least was embellishing or exaggerating and most of the time lying. Gregory Joseph is a liar. And the worst sort of liar because he snickers and laughs and, he speaks in these long, eloquent tones and he's a liar. All Gregory Joseph does when he opens his mouth is lie. When Leslie Harris was asking him questions about the political mailer that was sent out, costing taxpayers over $50,000, he lied to Leslie Harris's face, that city council's face. He was like recoiling. He didn't even know. He's like crunching down and turning sideways. He was almost back facing the council. I mean, it was insane. The psychiatrists are watching that video going, my God, look at this guy. Someone's asking him questions and the verbal questions are causing him to ball up in a corner like he's Jim Baker. Back to Leslie Harris, almost literally like sideways, crunched down, like didn't like those questions and giving, I don't even want to say embellished or exaggerated answer, just lying, untruths. It continues. Well, not lying, but just the goofiness. Asked about the council and being ousted. He starts talking about the Monday Night Football game. Ask about it again. He brings up the New York Jets, giggling and laughing. It's like, dude, you're about to be fired for being incompetent and lying. I mean, just crazy. And it doesn't stop. The early departure from Orleans, France, which he went on that trip with the mayor. It's unreal. The mayor hires a criminal defense attorney because she's getting indicted. She knows it's coming down. She hires a criminal defense attorney. The next week, she's off to France, just brazen, doesn't care, belligerent, entitlement attitude, just doesn't care, man. I'm taking that trip. I don't care if the feds are coming down on me. Gregory Joseph goes on that trip. Because the mayor is so Jim Fink said it best about former Saints coach, former Bears coach Mike Ditka, who he lost his gig with the Bears, the team he built. Papa George Halas wanted old Mike Ditka. George Halas was old, wanted the old Iron Mike. Finks was like, you're kidding, right? He's a dope. He's a moron. No, I can't approve that. And it got down to the point where Halas is like, we're hiring Ditka, you're gone. And Finks walked. Went across the street to the Cubs, and they won the first pennant in decades, in like 50 plus years, and then came to the Saints. No, about Mike Ditka, Fink said it best. Ready, fire, aim. Ready, fire, aim. Not ready, aim, fire. Ready, fire, aim. Just emotional, childlike, shoot from the hip, not thinking right. Ready, fire, aim. Like a little late for that now, coach. I mean, what a brilliant quote by the late, great Jim Finks. Ready, fire, aim. That's LaToya Cantrell. That's Junket Cantrell. Ready, fire, aim. Oh, no, y'all. We're going to France. And then halfway through the trip, got to leave France because I can't do this virtually. I got to swear in the new police chief, Ann Kirkpatrick. So, like, 3 days into a 7-day trip, they beeline back to New Orleans. I mean, not even over the jet lag yet. Gregory Joseph says, the early departure from Orleans cut short conversations with investors looking to, quote, set up shop in New Orleans. Quote, the seeds have been laid. Quote, there's a bright future with our sister city. Just outright lies. There were no talks with investors. There's no one ready to set up shop in New Orleans. This is Gregory Joseph, Mayor LaToya Cantrell, responding to me saying, Junket Cantrell, never a dollar, never a single job created by these junkets. He's getting asked about it. People are pressuring them now, and this is the crap he comes up with. The Orleans trip wasn't cut short. Y'all were leaving for Paris the next day anyway. So this is just more, not exaggerations or embellishments, untruths, outright lies by Gregory Joseph. No, the good news is he'll probably be done in about a week, and that's great news. Now, I was listening to another radio station down the dial. They're like, why would they oust you from any New Orleans job? And they're saying how unfair that was. You should lose this job, and you should be able to get another job. No, not within the city, and not reanointed by the mayor. What doesn't this lightweight disc jockey pretending to do talk radio not understand about that? But then again, he had Gregory Joseph on the show and had nose clearly inserted up Joseph's rear end. Yikes. What's that, Blue Boy? Not a good place to be. You're right. Have a great weekend. Monday, 4 o'clock. Be there.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 6 p.m.